Alright, football fans, the quarterback carousel has delivered another major twist. Russell Wilson is officially heading to the Big Apple. Reports confirm he's signed a one-year deal with the New York Giants that could be worth up to $21 million. With a guaranteed $10.5 million. Talk about a headline grabber. After a single season with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Wilson is on the move once again. While he did lead the Steelers to the playoffs, it seems both sides were ready to part ways, especially with Pittsburgh's rumored interest in bringing in Aaron Rodgers. Now, Wilson finds himself in a completely different quarterback room in New York. The Giants have been busy this offseason, also adding Jameis Winston to the mix. And of course, they still have Tommy DeVito on the roster. What's fascinating is that all three of these quarterbacks are on one-year deals. It's like the Giants are holding an open competition to see who will lead their offense. This signing also throws a wrench into the Giants' widely discussed plans for the upcoming NFL draft. Holding the number 3 overall pick, many expected them to target a quarterback, with Shedeur Sanders being a popular name. Now, with the addition of a veteran like Wilson, could their draft strategy change? It's definitely possible. They might opt to address other needs with their top pick, knowing they have a capable veteran under center for the 2025 season. However, the short-term nature of all their quarterback contracts suggests they might still be looking for their long-term franchise guy in the draft. Wilson's time with the Steelers showed he can still be a productive quarterback, even if he hasn't quite returned to his Pro Bowl form from his Seattle days. He completed over 63% of his passes, threw for a decent amount of yards, and had a solid touchdown-to-interception ratio. He even had a good showing in the playoff game against the Ravens. It's going to be incredibly interesting to see how Russell Wilson fits into the Giants' offense and what kind of impact he can have. Will he be the answer they've been searching for at quarterback? What does this mean for the development of any young quarterback they might still draft? The Giants' quarterback situation just got a whole lot more intriguing. Let us know your thoughts on this move in the comments below. Well, folks, the NFL offseason is proving to be anything but boring. Just when we were digesting the news of Russell Wilson heading to the New York Giants, a major update has dropped regarding the future of another veteran quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. According to a recent report from ESPN's Adam Schefter, Wilson's move to the Giants has now put the Pittsburgh Steelers in prime position to land Aaron Rodgers. It seems like the quarterback carousel is spinning, and one move is directly impacting another. The Giants, along with the Minnesota Vikings, were also reportedly in the mix for Rodgers during the free agency period. However, with the Vikings seemingly committed to backing J.J. McCarthy and the Giants now securing Russell Wilson, the Steelers have emerged as the most likely destination for the 41-year-old Rodgers. This potential pairing between Rodgers and the Steelers could be a win-win for both sides. If Rodgers were to sign with Pittsburgh, he would be joining a team with some serious offensive weapons, including talented wide receivers like DK Metcalf and George Pickens. Plus, he'd be playing under the leadership of head coach Mike Tomlin, who consistently has the Steelers in playoff contention. Imagine Rodgers, a future Hall of Famer, leading that Steelers offense. While Wilson signing with the Giants doesn't guarantee that Rodgers will end up in Pittsburgh, the clock is ticking in free agency, and the options are starting to dwindle for both Rodgers and the Steelers. This report definitely suggests that the stars might be aligning for this move to happen. Let's not forget that last season, even at his age, Aaron Rodgers still put up impressive numbers, throwing for nearly 3.900 yards with 28 touchdowns and a solid 63% completion rate. If he's still playing at that level, he could be a game-changer for the Steelers. So, it looks like the Russell Wilson news might have just paved the way for another blockbuster quarterback move in the NFL. Could we see Aaron Rodgers in the black and gold of the Pittsburgh Steelers next season? It's definitely looking like a strong possibility. What do you think about this potential pairing? Let us know in the comments below. #NFL, #Aaron Rodgers, #Steelers. Well, folks, the plot thickens in the Big Apple. Just when we thought the Russell Wilson signing was the big quarterback news out of New York, Deion Sanders has thrown another log on the fire. Coach Prime has publicly stated his preferred NFL draft destination for his son, Shedeur Sanders, and you might be surprised to hear it's the New York Giants. Speaking at a conference in Chicago, Deion didn't mince words, saying, "Let's hope it's New York," when asked about where he wants Shedeur to land. Of course, the Giants currently hold the number 3 overall pick in next month's draft, making them a prime candidate to select a quarterback. For Shedeur to end up in New York, a couple of other teams would have to pass on him, specifically the Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns, who pick ahead of the Giants. The article mentions that Cam Ward is a strong contender to be the top overall pick, which would leave the Browns as the main team that could potentially take Shedeur before the Giants get their chance. The Browns are definitely in the market for a long-term quarterback solution after their trade for Deshaun Watson hasn't panned out as they hoped. They've been searching for stability at the quarterback position for a long time. So it's understandable why Deion might see them as a potential landing spot for Shedeur. Interestingly, Deion also addressed some recent reports that some teams have concerns about Shedeur's demeanor during pre-draft interviews. Coach Prime strongly defended his son, saying those are just lies, and that Shedeur is built for adversity and the spotlight. He believes Shedeur is the most qualified young quarterback ready for the NFL. Now, let's connect this back to the Russell Wilson news. The Giants just reportedly signed Wilson to a 1-year deal. So, how does Deion Sanders hoping his son lands in New York fit into this picture? It could mean a few things. Perhaps the Giants still plan to draft a quarterback like Shedeur at number 3 and have Wilson as a veteran mentor for a year. Or maybe the Wilson signing gives them flexibility to address other needs with their top pick, knowing they have a capable starter for the upcoming season. It's also possible that Deion's comments are just wishful thinking, and the Giants have their own plans regardless of his preference. The NFL draft is always full of surprises. The NFL draft is scheduled for April 24th to 26th in Green Bay. So we don't have too long to wait to see how this all plays out. It's certainly adding another layer of intrigue to the Giants' offseason and the quarterback landscape in the NFL. What do you think? Could we see Shedeur Sanders throwing passes in the same quarterback room as Russell Wilson in New York? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The NFL draft is just around the corner, and the quarterback landscape is really starting to take shape. Cam Ward, the quarterback out of the University of Miami, had his pro day this week, and by all accounts, he looked every bit like a potential number 1 overall pick. Reports suggest that Ward's pro day went incredibly well, showcasing his arm strength, velocity, and footwork. He even threw a ridiculous 56-yard pass that had scouts and executives buzzing. It seems like he made a strong impression on the Tennessee Titans, who hold that coveted number 1 pick. In fact, Ward himself reportedly told Titans executives that he expects to be their guy. And it sounds like the Titans are leaning that way, even bringing a portion of their social media team to his workout, which is often a telltale sign. Now, what does this mean for our friends, the New York Giants? We've been talking a lot about their quarterback situation with the recent signing of Russell Wilson and Deion Sanders' very public desire for his son, Shedeur, to land in the Big Apple. Well, if the Titans are indeed locking in on Cam Ward at number 1, that could have a ripple effect on the rest of the draft order. Earlier reports suggested that some believed the Giants might even try to trade up to get their guy. But with the Titans seemingly set on Ward, the Giants might be looking at other options with their number 3 pick. The article points out that the Giants still sent a healthy contingent of their front office and coaching staff towards pro day. So they're clearly doing their due diligence on all the top quarterback prospects. However, with the addition of Russell Wilson on a 1-year deal, their urgency to draft a quarterback at number 3 might have lessened. They now have a veteran who can start, allowing them to potentially take a different position of need or even trade down if the right offer comes along. Of course, the possibility of the Giants still drafting Shedeur Sanders remains. Deion Sanders has made his preference very clear, and the Giants might see Shedeur as their quarterback of the future. Even with Wilson on the roster for a year, it would certainly create an interesting quarterback room with Wilson, Sanders, and Jameis Winston all competing. It's also worth noting that the Cleveland Browns, who hold the number 2 pick, didn't send their top brass towards pro day, which could indicate they have their sights set on a different player. The NFL draft is shaping up to be full of surprises, and the quarterback position is always the center of attention, with Cam Ward seemingly gaining momentum for the number 1 pick. It will be fascinating to see how the rest of the top of the draft, including the Giants' plans at number 3, unfolds. What do you think the Giants should do? Draft a quarterback, stick with Wilson for now, or go in a different direction? Let us know in the comments. Steelers fans, are you feeling a little stuck right now? Well, a former teammate of Aaron Rodgers doesn't think you have much of a choice in the matter. With the NFL draft just a month away, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in a holding pattern, waiting to see what the future Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers decides to do. Right now, the Steelers are considered a safe bet to land Rodgers, according to Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio. But the man himself hasn't made his final decision yet, leaving the Steelers in a bit of a quarterback limbo. They don't currently have a clear-cut starting quarterback on their roster. And with the 21st pick in the draft, they might not be in a position to snag an elite quarterback prospect. Enter James Jones, who was one of Aaron Rodgers' favorite wide receivers for many years during their time with the Green Bay Packers. Jones recently appeared on The Facility and didn't hold back when discussing the Steelers' current predicament. In his words, the Steelers have no choice but to wait on Rodgers. Jones argues that the Steelers have already shown their hand to Rodgers, essentially saying, "We are waiting on you." He believes they've passed on other quarterback options, mentioning Russell Wilson as an example. And now their only real path to having a productive season in 2025 is to bring in Aaron Rodgers. Therefore, according to Jones, the Steelers simply have to wait for his decision. It's a pretty blunt assessment, highlighting the risk that teams take when they put all their eggs in one basket during free agency. Jones' perspective definitely adds another layer of intrigue to this ongoing saga. Let's not forget that even in 2024 with the Jets, Rodgers had a strong season, throwing for nearly 3.900 yards with 28 touchdowns. If he were to join the Steelers, he'd have some exciting weapons to work with in DK Metcalf and George Pickens. The potential is definitely there for a successful partnership. But as James Jones points out, the Steelers are now in a position where they have to sit and wait for Aaron Rodgers' decision. Will he choose Pittsburgh, or will the Steelers have to scramble and look at other options as the draft approaches? It's a storyline we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on. What do you think? Is James Jones right? Are the Steelers out of options besides waiting for Rodgers? Let us know in the comments below. Okay, so we're a few days into the new NFL league year. And while a lot of the big names have already found new homes, there's still some serious talent lingering on the free agent market. Let's dive into some of the best players who are still out there. And maybe your team could still make a splash. Headlining the list, and this is a big one, is quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Yes, the future Hall of Famer is still available. He reportedly met with the Steelers but left without a deal, and there might still be a glimmer of hope for a return to Minnesota. However, with the Giants signing Russell Wilson, it seems like those are the main contenders. Or maybe even retirement could be on the table for Rodgers. Imagine still having a chance to sign a quarterback of his caliber. On the receiving end, we've got some big names still looking for a team. Amari Cooper is out there. He was with the Bills last year, but his production was down, possibly due to injury. However, just the year before, he had a 1.250-yard season, so he's proven he can still be a top receiver. Teams will need to decide if last year was just a blip or the start of a decline. Another talented wideout still available is Keenan Allen. His trade to Chicago didn't quite pan out as hoped, but he still put up decent numbers with 70 catches. Even though he's getting up there in age, he's still a fantastic route runner who can get open against any coverage. He could be a valuable addition for a team needing a reliable receiver. Turning to the defensive side, cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. is still on the market. He's coming off a shoulder injury that sidelined him for most of last season. But he's still young, experienced, and known for his tackling ability and closing speed. A team looking to bolster their secondary could definitely take a look at him. For teams looking to add some firepower to their running game, there are a couple of intriguing options available, albeit with some question marks. J.K. Dobbins had a productive season last year when healthy, but he does have a history of injuries. Then there's Nick Chubb, who is undoubtedly one of the best runners of his generation, but he's coming off a major knee injury and a broken foot. Signing Chubb would definitely be a high-risk, high-reward move. Finally, For teams needing a solid tight end, Tyler Conklin is still available. He's a reliable player who does everything pretty well and could be a starter for a team on a short-term deal. So, there you have it. Even after the initial rush of free agency, there are still some big names and talented players out there who could make a significant impact for a new team in the 2025 season. It's going to be interesting to see where these guys end up. What do you think? Which of these players will make the biggest splash with their new team? Let us know in the comments below.